So, Leonardo DiCaprio's Antifa movie looking like it's going to lose about $100 million. Pretty mental. Now, this is a bigger article from Variety. It's about a whole bunch of other movies as well. And just these budgets being completely out of control. Right? But it's worthwhile covering. And yeah, the headline might have Antifa in it. I don't know, to be honest. Not quite sure what I'm going to call this video. But yeah, they're out of control. The budgets are out of control. Like, who on earth in the modern day climate thinks spending, I don't know, like $100 million on this Leonardo DiCaprio obscure movie thing was a good idea? And Smashing Machine as well, you know. Like, the budgets are insane. Absolutely staggeringly insane. So as it says here, every Monday morning, Virginia-based cinema owner Mark O'Meara pores over grosses to see how the newest releases are playing in his area. Last weekend didn't offer much to celebrate, as some well-reviewed Oscar contenders collapsed at the box office. It's almost like Oscar bait movies aren't actually what the wider audience wants to watch, hey? So The Smashing Machine, a sports biopic, starring Wayne Johnson as MMA fighter Mark Kerr, died pretty quickly, O'Meara reports. Meanwhile, nobody did really well with Roof Man, a dramedy featuring Channing Tatum. Didn't know that was a movie, and I do this. This is what I do. Didn't even know that was a film. What? It was slow as hell, O'Meara says. I thought the movies were good. There was a lot of hype with them that just didn't happen. So there wasn't hype, is what you're saying. And yeah, the movies can be good. This is the thing. It's important to remember, right? It's really important to remember is that we're in a completely different landscape at the moment. The film industry that we grew up with isn't the film industry that the movie studios have pushed towards today. So, you know, I'm old enough, cue white beard, to remember you'd have a very limited time in the movies at the theatres. Well, not limited time, sorry. You'd have a time at the theatres. Then you'd have to wait for it to be released on rental. And then you'd have to wait for it to be released to buy. And it was all plotted out. It was a specific time frame of each. And so when a movie didn't do massively well at the box office, 9 times out of 10, what people would then have is good word of mouth would have built up by that point. If it was decent, it would have built up by that point, and then people would have rented it. You know, yeah, from Blockbuster. I remember Blockbuster. But also just your local VHS rental shop. Some of them had it as well. And you'd rent it, and that would do well there. You know, it'd have a second life. And then maybe it would have a third revenue stream on DVD. And then came Blu-rays at a certain point. And obviously VHSs as well, right? Prior to DVDs. But now, because movie studios have just gone, yeah, streaming, no worries, mate. And they own their own streaming platforms. They've cannibalized all of their second and third revenue streams. It's really dumb. Really dumb. And so, when you've cannibalized the other options that earn more money, you need to be ultra careful, which they haven't been. You need to be ultra careful on how much you spend on the movie to begin with, because it's a bigger risk. But they haven't changed anything. Really, really dumb. So the DC metro area wasn't the only place where those films failed to connect. Roof Man debuted to a paltry $8 million, while Smashing Machine endured a brutal 70% decline in its sophomore outing, bringing revenues to $10.1 million. As for other movies aimed at adults, Kiss of the Spider-Woman, a $34 million budgeted musical adaptation with Jennifer Lopez, fizzled with $850,000, albeit from far fewer theatres than Tatum's film. $34 million, and you earn 850 grand. I mean, look, I'd love 850 grand, don't get me wrong. But $84 million is mental to spend on a movie like that in this modern climate when you have cannibalized your other revenue streams. It's sink or swim now. You know, that initial thing is sink or swim. Even Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, led by Leonardo DiCaprio, struggled to break out despite being hailed as a generational masterpiece. This is that Antifa movie. Though the global haul of $140 million is impressive for a film that's original, R-rated, and nearly 3 hours long, One Battle After Another requires roughly $300 million to break even. And that's because Warner Brothers spent more than $130 million on production and $70 million on promotional efforts. Ticket sales are roughly 50-50 between studios and theatre operators. And DiCaprio typically gets first dollar gross on his movies, meaning he gets a percentage of box office revenues before the studio recoups any costs. So it actually needs way more than $300 million to break even. Way more. It's like $500 million. That's mental. That's dumb. Why did you do that? These prestige type movies have failed to create a sense of FOMO among audiences. They weren't eventized enough. There is no FOMO anymore because in a couple of weeks it'll be on streaming because studios were dumb and capitalized their own markets. That's all it is. So Robbins also wonders whether audiences have been trained to wait for streaming debuts. There you go. I didn't even know that was here, to be honest. Particularly the ones that don't feature superheroes, marauding dinosaurs, or Christopher Nolan-style pyrotechnics. Since COVID, studios have shrunk the amount of time that films are exclusively available in theatres from 90 days to, in some cases, a couple of weeks. Well done. People have come to expect these movies to be available in the home much sooner than they used to be. Yeah. Roofman, Paramount Pictures and Miramax did a $19 million budget. That's still going to lose money, though. Other recent awards fair won't be as lucky. One Battle After Another, which is mounting a multi-million-dollar Oscar campaign, is tracking to lose $100 million plus. According to a studio executives with knowledge of the economics of similar-sized films, a Warner Brothers spokesperson pushed back on those estimates, while noting the company has enjoyed a successful year at the box office with hits like Sinners and a Minecraft movie. Warner Brothers refutes Variety's anonymous sources and their uninformed estimates. Films across the studio's slate, including One Battle After Another, have achieved financial reward in 2025, with more than $4 billion earned to date. Now that is probably studio speak for saying, we put One Battle After Another on the same accounting sheet as another movie that's been successful, therefore this one hasn't lost money because it's paired with another film that was successful. That's the likelihood. Mental. However, Warner Brothers' 2025 slate of triumphs does help offset a loss of One Battle, and Anderson's film is expected to be a major Oscar player, which makes it valuable to the company in ways beyond the balance sheet. Earlier in the fall, a Warner Brothers source pegged year-to-date theatrical profits at roughly $600 million, before counting a major winner in The Conjuring Last Rites, and a money loser in One Battle After Another. Good times. Smashing Machine, pretty big failure. I mean, that cost $50 million to make. Why? That should be like a $10 million movie. What are you doing? Mental. Absolutely mental. I don't have much else to say really on this. It's pretty dumb. Pretty dumb. So there you go. Antifa movie bombs. Other movies bomb. And it's all the studio's fault. Not the movies being bad. It's not what I'm not saying the movies are bad. I don't know. Well, I'm not going to go watch One Battle After Another. It's not my jam. The movies very well could be good. But you can't keep spending that level of money on them. Super dumb. Leave your thoughts down below. And hit subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Bye now.